Hey guys, this is Delaney. Welcome to another hair tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you how to do the two-strand fishtail braid. It may be called something different. This is just what I've called because this is exactly how it looks. Some people call it a fishbone. It's also used in mermaids braids a lot just because, you know, fish-esque sort of thing. Again, this is something that I just did so it's easier to see. Now this is definitely a two-strand braid, but there is a three-strand braid that I'll talk about later in another tutorial. But this is two strands. One of the things too is that it is different than other braids because the pieces are, there's two separate pieces, but they don't remain the same size throughout the braid. That is kind of the goal, but you'll see what I mean. Another thing too is that there is something I want to talk about. When I start doing hairstyles, I will have a hat. I work at Burger King, and one of the reasons I started doing hairstyles is because I couldn't find any cool hairstyles, good for your hair hairstyles, that would go with the hat that I have to wear at Burger King. So when I start doing hairstyles, you'll see that hat, and that's my way of saying this is fast food hat approved, or it's any hat approved, just because it'll work. And I do like to do more than a braid or a ponytail when I go to work, especially when I'm going to go out afterward, because I want a curl effect, or I want it to look nice. So that's just that. I'm going to show you. Again, I'm not going to show the yarn just because it is a two-strand braid. Two-strand braids are harder to show on yarn because you can't take them apart, and especially this one would be very difficult to do. So, I have it in this ponytail simply for your visual purposes. You don't need to do it like that. The only materials you'll need, again, is another elastic. You can use a little bit of pomade, but this is one of those braids that's it won't look terrible if you don't. So, what you do is you just divide it in two pieces. Now what you do is you take the piece from the far side on top and move it over to the second piece and just hold it there, and then you do the same thing. You grab, and you want the piece to be about a quarter of the strand or less. The smaller the piece, the better the effect. And now it doesn't look like I'm doing anything right now. It's starting to show a little bit, but it looks like I'm just, especially from a distance, it doesn't look like I'm doing very much. This is one of those braids that take a little while to show up, and you can kind of see it here. The thing is too, the reason this braid is very popular is because of the angle that the hair goes and the obvious division of the bone. It looked like someone did a braid backwards when I first saw it, and I was so intrigued I had to learn it. And I actually learned this while I was in a show. Someone was literally just bored and was doing someone else's hair and showed me how to do this. It's very easy. Again, I'll show you. Take a small piece, move it over top to the other side, take a small piece from the other side, move it over top, and you just keep doing that. And especially when you're starting out, it'll feel like you're not doing anything. Just be patient with yourself. Maybe try to have, my hair actually sits really well. It's got enough, I just washed it, and so it's a little wet. I do suggest it if it's just very slightly damp. It helps keep the flyaways out. I'll let you take a look. See how cool that looks? And you just keep going. Now, and the wave effect with this braid is very interesting. It's one of the loosest waves that you can get. The other thing about this hair is that it doesn't, I like this one. You can do down the back. You can do this almost in any size. I wouldn't suggest doing it very small though, just because you are taking little pieces of hair. And also another thing too is that as your hair decreases in size, the strands do, you'll obviously want to start decreasing in size to give an even look to it. So I'll just keep going. If you want to mute me at this point, go ahead. I'm just going to keep talking. because sorry, I don't have a speed up button yet. Still working on that. And one of the things too is that it is, I'm really odd. I like to braid my hair as far all the way down as it'll go. I don't like the pony. I like to minimize that little elastic look at the ends that you get. Also, the best part about this braid is that you can see here, this is obviously has less than this. There's nothing wrong with taking more to this side and less from this side, as long as you keep the effect going. And also, this is a good one to do in front of the mirror or to do on someone else first when you start practicing, just because you want to keep it, you want to make it look nice and neat. I think the first time I did this was on myself and it looked really odd, and still sometimes if I'm not paying attention it'll look, I'm not paying attention to the loose hairs and stuff, it'll look really odd. Here, let me turn. There we go. See, you can take a look at how that looks. Again, my hair is very dark. If you did this with a blonde, it would be, especially if it had darker darker lowlights in it, it would look great. So I'm going to keep going. I'll show you one more time, and then I'm going to speed up. You take a piece from one side, move it to the other, and on that other piece, you take a piece from that. And also, I suggest doing it from the edges and adding it to the middle, just because it makes the effect definitely a lot better. I think when I first started out it was just middle to middle, and it took a while for the effect to have. So if you take it from the outside and you move it to the inside of the opposite, it has a much better effect. So I'm almost done here. Turn it so you can see how it looks if it wants to. But see, and it looks very much like a fishbone or a fishtail. It's also kind of cool for those who don't know how to do this. It looks very complex, and it's very not. This is one of the easiest braids to do. I mean, 3-strand I think is a little bit more complicated. I showed that to you first though because I think that's the most important braid to learn how to do. The other thing is this is a time-consuming braid. As you could see in my rope video or a 3-strand braid, it is those go really quick because you're not paying attention. Just because, I don't know, fishtails do take a while. In all the hair tutorials I've seen, they really sped up fishtails, especially because they just take a long time. So I'm going to just hold it there. I'm not going to elastic it, but it doesn't loosen up very much as long as you tie it correctly. I'll show you how that looks. And there we go. That is your fishtail braid. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave it in the box down below. Also, please feel free to subscribe. I'm going to keep trying to have hair tutorials, not at least once a week, just depending on how busy I am. Oh, and the other thing is when you take it apart, you just take your fingernail and just run it down. It usually comes out quite easy. And as you can see, there is a little bit of a wave to it. Maybe that's just my hair, but if you leave it in, obviously a lot longer. But that's a fishtail braid. Thank you, and have a good day.